who it is. It's your boy CJ, the Barber Prodigy. And I'm back with another fire tutorial for you guys. Today I'll be doing a mid fade with the beard. It's a very simple cut, man. I actually do a lot of these. Between this and the high temp fade, they are the most popular cuts in this area. So, alright guys, let's get right on into it. Of course, you know we gonna get started by combing out the hair. Always comb out the hair first, especially the area where you're fading. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead on in and start making my zero line. You can do these with a pair of balding clippers or trimmers. In this case, I chose to use my Stylecraft Prodigy trimmers. They are my trimmers of choice. So as you see, they give a nice crisp line, and they do a great job of removing all of the hair below the bald line.
Yeah, this is for classics.
Alright, so after we get it all balded out, you're gonna go in and take your clippers with the guard open and go ahead and do about a ½ inch up. And my clippers of choice, again, are the Stylecraft Mystics. And they're really, man, the power of these clippers alone and how quiet the motor is makes them unbeatable and uncomparable to any other clipper on the market right now. But yeah, it's not about clippers. We're gonna get back into this tutorial. So guys, right about now, I've made it all the way around with my blade all the way open. So I'll close it a little bit and I start to flick out that bottom line. And when I get closer to the bottom, I'll close it all the way. So I kind of go between all the way closed and halfway open when I'm doing this part. So it's no real set perfect way to do it because everybody's hair is different, but you'll learn to gauge it the more you do it. So don't feel discouraged if you have a little issue getting that bottom line out. Just take your time and be patient with it. All right, so as promised, the fade will be done with one guard, the zero guard. I start by opening up my zero guard and going about another ½ inch up all the way around. Once I'm done with this, I'll close my blade and only go up about half of that area that I just made. And this is just to start to flick out and fade out that line between the open blade and the open zero guard. I recommend that at the beginning, you go ahead and ask the client what height they would like their hair cut at. This is a regular of mine, so I already know how he likes it, but I still jumped right into the fade and didn't take the hair height down. So I take this one guard and I go over the hair with the one guard closed, because that's about the height that he wants it. Find out from your client first what height they want their hair at so that you're not working backward. But yeah, the fade, when I say the fade is done with one guard, the fade itself is done with just the open and closed blade of the clippers and the one guard. Now then the one guard being the zero guard. Now the guard you use to cut their hair height is a different, that's completely different from the fading system, because I don't need the one guard to actually do the fade. So as you can see, I'm just being thorough, combing the hair as I go, making sure that I'm not missing any areas. You don't want anything darker than the rest, so we want it all to be nice and uniform. So make sure that you comb as you go. Alright, so back to our zero guard. You just want to close the blade and go down on the cut, down on the levels that you just made. And as you can see, the fade is already starting to smooth out.
www.4klassix.com. That's where music lives.
And so that's pretty much it, guys. At this point, after you've finished going down, you might want to turn your clippers the other way with the guard still on them. Go up with the guard open, down with the guard closed. If you need to detail if you want to do any detailing to smooth out your fade, I would recommend doing it with the guard closed or with the guard off completely and have the blade fully opened up. So like if you'll notice right now, that's what I'm doing, I'm detailing. So just depending on what part of the fade I'm detailing, depends on whether I have a guard on it or whether I just use the open blade. Most times I use the open blade or the corners or raking techniques. Whatever gets the job done, guys. There's so many different ways to make sure that your fade is blended properly. So don't feel obligated to only use one way. Once you got into a comfortable point in the fade and you feel like it's done, I would go ahead and get ready for the lineup. I like to use Got to Be Glue hose spray because I know that it works. It's very effective in laying down the hair and just giving the skin a nice dry look so that I'm always able to give my clients a good ash line. And of course, I recommend using a blow dryer to speed up the process and help the hose spray dry properly. All right, guys, now it's time to get surgical. I'm taking my Stylecraft Prodigy trimmers and I'm just lightly tapping away at that line. You don't want to dig in, especially if your trimmers are gapped right and you dig in, you are definitely going to create hard lines. But more importantly, you're going to cut the customer, and that's something you never want to do. So please, I cannot stress this enough. Make sure that your trimmers are gapped properly and do the skin test on them.
www.4klassix.com. That's where music lives.
All right, so now that I've went in and done that initial hairline with the trimmers, now is the time to apply any enhancements before you add the razor. For this cut, I only used the Barber pencil and just lightly went over his sides. And now I'll take the razor and just work that pencil mark into the skin just to make it look more natural and yet still have that pop, that fresh cut look with the bright ash line. Now, the razor that I'm using is the Crispy Lines Turkish razor, and It's a good razor. I really recommend it because it's very lightweight, very easy to maneuver. And guys, whenever you're lining somebody up with the razor, whether you choose to have your blade all the way exposed, halfway exposed, or deeply seated within the razor, still make sure that you're paying attention to the angle of the razor so that you're not cutting your client as you are lining them up. And as you see, I keep the knuckle brush on to brush away the hairs and brush down the hairs that I'm about to line up. And also to keep my razor clean because I don't want a lot of dead skin piling up on the razor, making it hard for me to control the angle of my razor as I'm lining them up. So, like I said, you're just lightly grazing over his skin or her skin, just enough to make sure that you know, give them that nice fresh line up, that you get any hairs that may be hanging over the line. And be gentle with this part because if you're not, you could accidentally slip and push your client's line back. Now the same principles apply for the most part when you're lining up the beard as you do with the face. The only real difference is that you have to be a little more intentional about stretching the skin and making sure that you shape that beard nicely. So as you can see, his beard is already sharply lined and we haven't used any enhancements or any type of additional anything, shaving gel or anything, and it still has a nice clean look. Now I'm not speaking against shaving gels or hose sprays or anything, but I find that it's easier to get a nice clean line with the beard and not have to use anything additional as long as you control your razor and stretch the skin. Now, my client likes to have a clean part in the side of his head. So I'm going to show you guys the way that I do it. I just go in and lightly tap with the trimmer. Don't try to overcorrect when you're making that initial line. Just go through and lightly tap, and then after you get the initial line, you can turn the trimmers upside down the way that you see me doing it and go in and add a little more detail to the part. Or even if you're doing a design, it's pretty much the same. Don't overdo it on the initial lineup. Take your time and create your shape with the trimmers and then go in and add your details. And of course, because we want his part line to be sharp, we will go over it with the razor. Alright guys, so we're all done. Check it out. As you can see, the fade is blurry and the lines are clean. And this is a very easy to achieve end result. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. And if you aren't already subscribed, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. All right, guys, God bless.